Welcome to Behind the Service, real talk from the backbone of the industry. This is the podcast for hospitality professionals by a hospitality professional, where we explore all of the challenges, triumphs, and real-life experiences of those who work behind the scenes. I'm your host, Courtney, and my goal is to foster understanding between employees, leaders, and guests in the hospitality industry. I see you, I value you, and I am here to share your stories. But before we dive in, I want to make one thing very clear. Any of the stories, tips, advice that I share on this platform, they are all specifically from my personal experiences. I in no way care to or am trying to speak on behalf of every hospitality professional that's in the industry. This platform is for all of us. I want you to share your stories, especially if they do not resonate with mine. So whether your experiences are the same or different, this platform is for you. Join us. Let's get started. Thank you so much for joining me on this very first episode of Behind the Service. Today, we're going to be talking about the typical work week in the housekeeping department. But why? Because it sits at the heart of so many of the challenges we experience as housekeeping employees, hotel leaders, as employees in other departments, or even just as a guest. Working in housekeeping in hotels is not just about cleaning rooms. It really is a juggling act of managing extremely high expectations by guests, maintaining very high standards by management, all while making sure you do so in a timely manner and hold it all together just enough to be able to clock out and still take care of the responsibilities you have outside of the hotel. Understanding these dynamics is so important because it helps us first identify what goes wrong, why we experience those challenges, and it helps us be able to start finding solutions for those challenges. I'll be sharing some quick tips and little nuggets of advice throughout this episode, just some things that I think may help regarding any of the issues that I bring up. So please feel free, stay tuned, look either at the top or bottom of your screen. They'll be showing up throughout the episode. But before we dive into today's episode, let's kick things off with a little trivia. What day of the week is the heaviest workload day for the housekeeping department in hotels? Is it Monday? Is it Wednesday? Is it Sunday? Or is it Saturday? Take a moment, think about it, answer it, and I'll be right back with you. Stay tuned. And the answer is, drumroll please. Yes, it's Sunday. You guessed it. If you didn't guess it, stay tuned. I'll tell you why. Think about it. When do you travel? Don't think about it. I'll tell you. If you have a job where you are able to work remotely or get off a day early, you might get off on Thursday and leave that night. If not, if you work a typical 9 to 5 and you're responsible for showing up to work on Friday, you leave after work around 5 because you want to make the most of your weekend. So you check in Thursday evening, Friday night. You enjoy the festivities you've planned at the destination you chose all day on Saturday. And then sometime on Sunday, you quickly gather all of your things and run out of the hotel so that you can make it back to your normal responsibilities by Monday morning. Am I right? Let's dive deeper into the typical work week of housekeeping. I want you to really feel the intensity of what it's like working day by day. And I don't just mean what the job entails. Today, I will not be training you on how to clean a room, but I'm really good at that. So if you want to know, call me. It's about how it affects every single person connected to it. So that's the guests, that's the team members that make it all happen behind the scenes. That's the hotel managers and owners. And that's the family members that are sitting at home who do not get the chance to spend the time with all of the other people involved in making the entire hotel happen. So buckle up. This is what it's like working in the backbone of the industry. Sundays are chaotic. There's really no other way to describe it. It's checkout day for most guests, which means that for us, we are flipping the entire hotel. To give you some perspective, imagine a hotel with 150 rooms. If over the weekend, let's say there were 75% of those rooms were occupied, that means that on Sunday, we have to clean 112 rooms. But what's the challenge, really? Well, for starters, who checks out on time on Sundays? Not you. It's Sunday. People take their time. Some people want to take one last dip in the pool before they have to leave. Other people want their complimentary breakfast, but they don't want to wake up on time for it. They just want to catch it right when it's ending. Then there are the others who take their time or maybe wait until right at checkout time to call front desk and request an extension. And then the worst of them all, people who don't call, people who don't care, and they leave when they're good and darn ready. For these guests, it may be easy like a Sunday morning, but for us, it makes it even more challenging. The late checkouts are one of the biggest bottlenecks. Housekeepers can't even start cleaning a room until it's vacant. So typically we find ourselves just sitting on standby, wasting very valuable time, waiting on guests to leave units. Now here's the kicker. Sundays typically are not heavy check-in days. So you might be thinking, well, you don't have to clean all 112 rooms, right? Yes, we do. If we don't clean every room on Sunday, then that leaves plenty of other rooms that roll into our week in addition to the other departures happening throughout the week. One thing that you never want to do in any industry, in any profession, in anything in your life is start the week off behind. Let's take a second to talk about how this affects the team. Because let's be real, Sundays don't just take a toll on the hotel. It really impacts the people that make the hotel run. And when I say team, I mean the housekeeping department. In the housekeeping department, you typically have what you may call housekeepers and what we call room attendants. Those are our cleaners that we see face to face. But sometimes we don't realize that there are more people involved in making the housekeeping department run. Think about it. If housekeepers or room attendants are cleaning your rooms, who is helping them clean those rooms? Delivering items that they need, removing heavy items that they no longer need, housekeeping aides, or as I like to call them, housemen. In addition to all of that, you also have public area assistants. This in some hotels are also housemen, but these people are specifically responsible for keeping up with the public spaces of the hotel. Yes, that's the lobby, that's the front areas, that's the valet drive, that is the hallways, that's the elevators, the public restrooms, and so much more. And then there's laundry. Every rag that we use to clean with in housekeeping is processed through laundry. Every washcloth, hand towel, bath mat, flat sheet, fitted sheet, pillowcase, pillow protector, duvet inserts, duvet covers, throw blanket, and so many more linen and terry items that you don't even consider using throughout the day are collected, sorted, treated, washed, dried, folded, stocked, and inventoried, all by people in our laundry department. For starters, Sunday shifts are long. Sometimes they feel like they never end. I mean, 12, 13-hour shifts. And it's not like these are easy shifts. It's not like we're sitting at a desk, typing items, picking up phone calls. We are on our feet, pushing 300-pound carts. Now you might ask, well, why is the cart 300 pounds? Well, think about the size carts that you see housekeepers push in a hotel. On those carts, we store our vacuums, which are typically heavy. We store all of our clean linen, which can add up in weight. We store all of our cleaning supplies, meaning chemicals, which are liquids. And then throughout the day, as we are cleaning rooms, we are collecting heavy, wet towels, sheets, and more linen. These carts can become very heavy as the day continues. It's physically and mentally draining. And for most of us, when we come home at the end of a Sunday shift, we are no good to anyone, especially ourselves. Sundays are so crucial because while we're being responsible for ensuring that everyone else checking in or checking out are taken care of, we are missing out on so much. Think about what happens on Sundays. Church for some, family time, alone time, studying, resetting your own home, anything like that. We don't get those Sundays often. Oh, and then there's the team dynamic. You showed up on Sunday, you showed up last Sunday, and every Sunday you've been scheduled. But you notice that there's a particular coworker that often calls out on Sundays, or those coworkers that completely no call, no show. When someone calls out or doesn't call or show, that workload does not just disappear. It gets added to the assignments that the current housekeepers working that day already have. So the workload intensifies, morale decreases, energy decreases, and everything else just follows from there. What might have felt like a 15-room manageable board immediately turns into a 20, sometimes 25-room board for the housekeepers that decided to show up. That's when people start to feel overworked and underappreciated. And to be honest, they're just pissed. And I completely understand it. I have had hardworking team members, very loyal and dedicated employees who have shown up for Sundays and noticed that there were the same employees not showing up and putting in as much effort, and got so fed up that they decided that they would walk out on that Sunday, ruin their reputation as loyal employees, ruin their opportunities to earn the paycheck, all because of the feeling of defeat and betrayal. And the burnout, oh, it's real. When you're consistently given 110% and you feel like you're not getting it in return, that's typically when you see team morale begin to hit extreme lows. Now, let's shift gears to managers. Do you think it's any easier for them? Spoiler alert, it is not. Sundays, at least in my experience, as I've explained, are all hands on deck days. There is no time to do administrative tasks, no time to plan for the week. There's no time to be in guest faces, do inspections in rooms, create fun little activities for engagement throughout the week with your team. You are your team. Managers are often out on the floors, cleaning rooms, inspecting rooms, covering breaks for employees who need time to sit down or take water breaks, use the restroom, or just eat lunch. Managers are hopping between multiple areas in the department, as we discussed before. Maybe they're filling in and helping a room attendant, but then maybe they're assisting a houseman. Maybe they are in the laundry room helping laundry attendants with their tasks for the day, or maybe they are everywhere helping public area attendants and every single employee in between. It's physically demanding work. And in some hotels, when you are an executive housekeeper or a part of the executive team, you may be the only executive employee on property on that Sunday. So if there are any extreme circumstances, you may be required to step away from your team to assist those guests who are at the desk saying, "I want to speak to your manager." But the hardest part, managing the team. You're trying to keep up morale, but you're also trying your best to manage the frustrations that have developed because of the call outs and the no call, no shows. And here's the thing, there might be a time where you need those people who didn't show up on Sunday to come to work on Monday to help you get the rooms turned that weren't turned on Sunday because they didn't show up. So even though you need to hold them accountable, which you will, you need them to be able to come back to work. And when team members see other team members that are not putting in 100% effort like they are, still continuing to show up to work, that negatively affects morale in the department. So do you hold them accountable, or do you let it slide because right now you can't worry about keeping up and replacing staffing? It's a tough balancing act. And let's not forget about the schedule. Sundays, if not ran successfully, can throw the rest of the week off. You need all hands on deck, but you need to give people time off during the week. Employees typically need at least 2 days off. So if Monday through Thursday, you're trying to give them their 2 days off because you know you'll probably need them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, how do you manage it? Especially when there are people that you already know are going to call out or not show up. That means you're juggling shifts. You are trying to incentivize employees just to come to work, and it probably means you're working 7 days this week. Especially for salaried managers, the grind never stops. I've worked 16-hour shifts and taken my administrative tasks home to prepare for my next day off because I knew that it could not get done at work because I would be on the floors with my team. The burnout for managers is just as real for managers as it is for the team. And unfortunately, some of your team might not see it. They might not physically see you in their specific room helping them with their specific board. So in their heads, you were not there. However, be patient, be transparent, craft your Sunday plans as a team before the Sunday comes. And either the day before or the morning meeting on Sunday, reiterate that plan so that your team knows exactly where you will be throughout the day. Just because they don't see you does not mean that you're not there, and you need to make that clear. From the hotel's perspective, Sundays are critical. If rooms aren't cleaned or turned over, you are losing potential revenue. Imagine the housekeeping department decides we're not going to clean 30 rooms tonight out of the 112. We got a good amount done, didn't we? Sure, but that leaves 30 opportunities for us to decline a room to a guest. So the moment that a guest shows up and needs a room and we cannot offer it to them, that immediately affects our reputation. In today's world, it's 2025. Everybody leaves reviews. You do not want to be the hotel that sends somebody home or has to walk them to another hotel or company because you didn't have a room available for them Sunday night. They don't care that your housekeeping team of only 4 women today and yourself cleaned over 100 rooms. They just care about the 5 rooms that weren't available to sell. And what about the ripple effect? Those 30 rooms that you rolled into Monday on Sunday are going to be added to the 15, 30 more rooms that check out on Monday. Now you have even more, but you have less staffing because you scheduled everyone Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to be there. And now they're experiencing their days off. And who's going to come in on their day off, especially after working such a crazy Sunday? Suddenly, you're playing catch up every single day. This means more stress on the team, more stress on you, potential lack in quality, more stress on the rest of the hotel and the guests. Speaking of guests, let's talk about it. Because Sundays are difficult for the hotel and for the housekeeping team, they're not always a walk in the park for the guests either. You guests that are checking in on Sunday often may experience long wait times. And let's be honest, no one likes waiting around after a long drive or flight, especially if you went out of your way to check in on Sunday because you knew no one else was checking in. When the team is stretched thin, these requests take much longer to fill. Requests like normal check-ins already take long. So what about those of you who are wanting to room move? Maybe you checked in on Friday into a queen room, you're not checking out until Tuesday, and you really want to upgrade to a king. Well, now we have to wait until a king is available, meaning vacant, clean the king room, help you move you and your things to that king room, and now clean your queen room that you stayed in so that a guest has that as well. All of these things can be a huge distraction and be an obstacle to being able to perform and uphold the normal expectations and quality that your team is trained to do. And while guests might not notice all of the work that's going on behind the scenes, they definitely will notice when there's a discrepancy in the service that they're paying for. Sundays set the tone for the entire week. It impacts the teams, the managers, the hotel, and the guests. And quite often, I mention how it affects family members. In my specific experience, it was my husband who was home with 2 babies, a 1-year-old, and an infant, trying to feed them, deal with their screaming, crying, do bath time, and do all of it alone after he was getting off of a 12-hour shift as well because I was at work and it was Sunday. This is why we need to talk about it. What are some of the strategies that hotels are using to ensure that these challenges are reduced? What are some of the techniques and methods being implemented into the housekeeping departments? What are the conversations being had amongst housekeeping employees who are saying, I ain't going to that job on Sunday? Who is telling them that they're part of the problem? And what do we do to move forward and see to it that not only are guests enjoying their stay, hotel owners and managers are successfully exceeding their financial and operational goals, but to make sure that housekeeping employees are enjoying their jobs, succeeding with their professional skills, and coming home to a happy, healthy situation that is not negatively impacted by their job. Expressing these challenges and finding solutions will hopefully help make a better experience for all of us. So where can we start? 1, you can take some tips from this video. 2, drop some of your suggestions or experiences in the comments, or email us to join this platform to further talk about your experiences or even questions that you may have. 3, share this video with others and open up dialogue. I personally would share a short clip of it and discuss specific topics from this episode in my housekeeping department meetings. And last but certainly not least, continue to strategize until you find a method that works for you, your team, your family, and the hotel in itself. Wow, we covered so much today about housekeeping, didn't we? Specifically Sundays. And to be quite honest, I didn't even get into the nitty-gritty of everything. Like my personal pet peeves or my personal experiences or some of the specific strategies and methods that I've implemented to see improvement in some of the issues we've experienced in my departments. As we wrap up, I want to thank you again for joining this first episode of Behind the Service. This is really special. I hope this episode gave you a glimpse into the complexities of our world in hospitality and inspires you to share your stories, your solutions, and your tips. But remember, this podcast is more about just sharing stories. It's about connecting and change. If you resonated with anything that I talked about today, I want to hear from you. Please email us at behindtheservice@outlook.com or message me on any of our social media. Please view the handles on the page. And please, I'd love your feedback. Your support helps this podcast grow and helps us reach more people in our community. When are you coming home?